Welcome to the annual Camp Constitution Barbecue and Book Sale. Today, October 2nd, 2010, in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. I'm interviewing Earl Wallace, the well-known author of The Three-Dimensional Leader, and he's brought his books and materials today to discuss his philosophy of leadership. So, thank you for coming, Earl.
It's my pleasure. It's a great time here.
Tell me, start with the title. What are the three dimensions of leadership?
A three-dimensional leader. It's all the theme of the book is embedded in the subtitle: negotiating your mission, resources, and context.
So those are the three dimensions.
Those are the three dimensions that we all operate in. Some leaders are very, very focused on their mission. They understand the resources that are available to it, and you understand the context in which those resources have to be deployed, so that no matter what's going on the playing field, your resources are positioned to fulfill the mission. You have to see the world three-dimensionally, as if you're looking through a prism. You have to see your mission with length, and depth, and width, and breadth, and you have to be able to understand the resources at the same time, and you have to understand your context. You can't think about a mission apart from the resources available to fulfill it.
Well, I was reading your philosophy of mission in a more concrete example where you were on the job and your boss wanted you to do something unethical. So how did that work out? Can you tell them the story and explain how it worked out in the light of the three dimensions of leadership?
Well, there's a lot of bad leadership out there, and that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. But my boss did not learn our mission. One-dimensional leaders are focused on themselves. One-dimensional leadership is all about me, not the mission. Two-dimensional leaders focus on one or two, what I call the MRC management dimensions. They may talk mission well, but they may not be good people. And everything you do has to do with people. People are your chief resource. People provide potential. Anyway, my boss didn't understand those things, and he tried to get me to do something that was unethical, sign a timesheet that for a person whom I knew was not at work for all the hours that were on that timesheet, and I basically refused to do it. And I tried to get my boss to understand the context of what we're dealing with, that because of union rules, I have to sign the timesheet. He said if I wouldn't sign it, then he was going to sign it, and I cautioned him, do not do that, because every 6 to 8 weeks, the entire palette of timesheets that we send forward will get audited. So it'll take 6 to 8 weeks. They'll catch you. It might catch you 2 weeks. It might catch you 3. But by 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to want to know why my signature's not on that sheet. Don't do this. And he had made side deals with employees. One-dimensional people leverage relationships in an organization to get what they want to do, not what the mission is requiring.
You were explaining that what he wanted you to do was going to hurt the mission of your organization, which was in fact a public department of government.
Absolutely.
But so can you kind of work it through a little bit? So if someone does something unethical, how does that hurt the mission? How does it play out?
Well, I was supervising at that time 14 different offices, and there were people already gossiping about this person's behavior and what she was able to get away with because of her relationship with the boss. And I told him it was going to be very difficult for me to discipline a region of people if you keep this type of behavior up.
So if you've got special privileges for certain people, it demoralizes everybody else.
Absolutely.
So that's the first dimension, mission. Second dimension, resources. How does the second dimension play out?
The second dimension is that you have to understand that resource, you can have a wide palette or a broad palette, a diverse palette of resources, but your chief resource are people. You know, one of the reasons why government is faltering right now is because it refuses to understand that the budget is a resource. And it's a finite resource. And when you're talking about resources, you're usually talking about what we call opportunity cost. Your opportunity, because of finite resources, your opportunity to do A may only be done because you're not going to do as much as B. So resources are the key component, but people provide you with the most potential. When your resources are depleted, it's really the people that are going to make the difference in an organization.
So that's really where you get back to the idea of Camp Constitution, that the power is supposed to reside in the people and not the money isn't an infinite resource. You can't just keep printing and borrowing forever.
Absolutely.
So that's understanding a resource. And what about the third dimension, context?
Well, the context is the chessboard, the playing field. It's the environment in which your mission unfolds. Every organization, though, has two contexts. They have or two sets of circumstances in which they operate. One is the internal context, and what my boss was trying to do, he was undermining the internal context, the way people relate to themselves within an organization. And then there's the external context. Now, the mission of America The mission of the government in America is to negotiate a set of circumstances so that we, the people, can actuate our lives. The mission in America is not for the government to become the chief resource. It can't. That's why we're trillions of dollars in debt. And when the government creates a job, it may cost $50 million to create one job. But when we create jobs with the efficiency of the marketplace, where I believe that Jesus inspired us to take our gifts, our talents, and to innovate goods and services that other people want to buy. That's why, that's what the parable of the talents is all about.
Maybe you want to retell that, because some people in our audience might actually not know where the word talent came from, meaning a coin.
Right. Well, what happens is in the Bible is that the Lord gives certain people, He gives three people different numbers of talents. And one person, I think,
different amounts of money.
Different amounts of money.
Yeah.
But I like to think of talents as ability.
Right.
We have the 3 T's that I do on church. I'm a church consultant, and I help churches figure out how to grow and how to structure their congregations so that people can get along better in the context, and they know what better to expect from each other so that they grow, and so that they can take more and more people in, orient them to that process, and so churches can grow and not split. And one of the 3 things that we get churches to focus on in terms of resources: time, talent, and treasure.
Right. So
and talent is your abilities.
Right. So talent now to us means our gift from God, our abilities. How are we going to spend that talent, spend that as if it was money in the parable?
Right.
And so that would be part of your resources, right?
Absolutely.
In terms of your 3-dimensional leader. I was interested, I wish we had another half hour to get into how you use characters from the Bible as models for leadership, but we only have a few more minutes to sum up, so what would you like to say to our audience?
Well, a 3-dimensional leader keeps a long-term focus on mission, resources, and context. 3-dimensional people either are good people, they're good people persons, because most organizational challenges are really human relational challenges. And if you can solve those by getting everyone focused on the mission, people join your organization because they want to do the mission. People want to rally to the mission. They don't want to rally to the leader's mess.
Right, so if you turn into a personality cult, then you're really off mission.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, and the challenges for all of us is that it's hard for us as leaders to not inappropriately impose our personalities, our style preferences upon the organization. It's really hard for a leader to be objective and to do what the organization needs. The job is bigger than me.
Right.
And I've had certain jobs where I've realized that I really don't like to do these types of things, but it's what the job requires. It's what people expect from somebody in my position.
So what would you advise, in our last couple of minutes, what would you advise a leader who has a big personality and yet you also have a big mission? How do you blend those two?
Well, it's okay to have a big personality. That's how you inspire people, I believe. But if you lead solely by your personal preferences and your personality, you're going to limit the number of people that really can support the mission. And in churches, how that works is that if I have style preferences or convictions about certain things, well, if I'm the leader and I like the color blue and you have the color green, so I'm the leader, but you're the Sunday school teacher, I'm going to make you paint all the rooms my color. Mm-hmm. And that may not work for the girls, it may not work for all the guys. Mm-hmm. So what we want to do is we want to drill down. We don't want to superimpose our personality. What I want to do is train, time, and trust you. Mm-hmm. And once we are on the same value system, we talk about mission, vision, values, and strategy. I synthesize an organization's mission, vision, and values into a cohesive strategy. And so once we have trained you and we trust you, and sometimes your opportunity to do something on your own is the timing event where we prove again that we can trust you, we reinforce that, then I'm going to trust that you love kids and you're going to do your thing in the Sunday school. And you're going to know the difference between what boys like and what girls like, and you're going to do a much better job than if I just did it on my own or imposed my personality.
Okay, well, Earl Wallace, author of The 3-Dimensional Leader, thank you very much for coming to the Camp Constitution annual book sale and barbecue in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. Thanks for coming.
It's wonderful being here.